the U.S. is kind of on its back foot now. It's pretty late in the game. We should have been building a lot more ships. We should have solved a lot of the issues in the Western Hemisphere, like, the Trump administration's national security document. We talked about this, the Don Roe doctrine, as they talk about it. I think it is necessary of, taking back U.S. interests in the Western Hemisphere that China has been using to subvert the United States. But, ideally, that would have happened, a decade ago.
Yeah, and now that it's Trump doing it, of course, there will also be a lot of resistance to, there was maybe a couple of weeks ago, right before Christmas.
Last year. Way last year.
That when Trump and Hegseth came out and announced those new battleships.
Oh, yeah, the
Navy
Golden
was going
Fleet.
To build. Yeah, the Trump class battleships. And I was just calling them the Trump class battleships is going to almost guarantee that the next time somebody who's elected is a Democrat, they're going to cancel this. You know what I mean? It's just the whole thing then becomes some. But even before we got to that point, there were already articles coming out about how I think Trump said that we're going to build this in 2.5 years. They'll be ready to go in 2.5 years, and there are already articles sourcing anonymous sources at the Pentagon being these aren't going to be it'll be 2035 before anything's built. Basically already trying to
sink his battleship.
Yes. Metaphorically, I guess. But yeah, so it's just kind of where are we now? If literally we're possibly a year or two away from a CCP invasion of Taiwan, and the U.S. is finally trying to get the Navy back into a position where it can fight a war in the Pacific, and then we have people being no, we can't do that.
We must stop this from happening.
Yeah.
It's a pretty bad situation. And all the CCP has to do is make it seem like a war for Taiwan is not worth it for the U.S. And then if they take Taiwan, again, that's not the end goal. That's step one.
Right.
It just puts us in a position where the next war would be very devastating, where China is controlling all of the shipping in the Pacific, basically. I think this is what people don't get. Everyone remembers how bad things were during COVID when global shipping shut down. And that was with everyone trying to fix things to get it back on its feet. Imagine a situation where China is actively weaponizing shipping against the US. People just can't, Americans can't imagine anymore not being the world superpower. They think so much about our way of life is just natural and would persist regardless of who the dominant global power is. And they really don't understand that, empires fall.
Well, also the idea that if the CCP were to do anything in the Pacific, there are U.S. territories in the Pacific, but they're far away, right?
I mean, I'm sure most people don't even know what a Guam is.
Of what a Guam is, yeah. Well,
what a Guam needs, what a Guam wants. You don't get this on other China shows.
Okay, yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
That is a true statement of fact. But also, people don't consider that there could be, some of these ICBMs that you were talking about, they can reach the U.S. mainland.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even have to be the CCP would do something like that. It could just be what we've talked about for years, things like sabotaging power grids or just doing things like terrorism or sabotage, things that would cripple the U.S. internally in a way that would make it easier for them to fight and win in the Pacific.
They've already been doing it.
Yeah, there is that.
Think about, I know we've talked about this before, but I can't stress this enough that China's role in pushing fentanyl in the United States, which is by far the deadliest drug that we have.
It's killing more people than automotive accidents.
Yeah, it's something like 70,000 Americans are killed each year, right? A lot of these are young people. A lot of them are young men and women who could be in the military. But it's not just the number of people who are dead. It's the number of people who are addicted.
I was going to say, if you see some of the people addicted to fentanyl,
It's terrible. And we know this. We talked before about how the CC's behind it with their subsidizing state or subsidizing chemical companies that push the precursors to Mexico. They do the money laundering for the Mexican drug cartels with the Chinese state-owned banks, and they to help them move the drugs across the border. So that's like that part is very clear. But the real issue here is that there's so much drug chaos in American society that is directly initiated and caused and continues to be pushed by the Chinese Communist Party, that it's a massive sabotage of America's readiness for war. So you have not only the deaths, but you have a huge multiple of that for the number of people who are sick or addicted to drugs. Then you have the drain on the healthcare system that causes. You have the drain on the families that are trying to support people who are addicted to drugs. You have the drain on the economy when people who could be working are unable to work because they're addicted to drugs, or they're not doing a good job at work because they're addicted to drugs. So like the implications of just this one thing, which is China's drug warfare against the U.S., are far bigger than any statistic that we have is able to tell us. And that is just one piece of China's active warfare against the U.S., but it's so massive. I think that we would see America be a totally different country if it weren't for just this one thing. I think that's how big it is. And I don't think people have ever really thought about the domino effect of this sabotage. All right, that's what I want to say.
Thank you.
well, it's not just fentanyl, right? Even things like the Chinese marijuana farms
Yeah.
in the U.S. when we had the guest on from
The main wire.
the main wire, and he was talking about how, these illegal marijuana grows, like their stuff gets refined right into things that are used in vape cartridges and whatever, and you do not know what's in them or where it could come from.
It's easily a vector for China to put who knows what into people.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
And I mean, this is not even on top of, we had Casey Fleming on recently who like in 2012, I think, was talking about Chinese intellectual property theft costing the U.S. economy $5 trillion a year. And now he thinks it could be even more than that. I think the issue is like a lot of people can't imagine like the shooting war between China and the U.S. And it doesn't even have to come to that. Like if China takes Taiwan, what they would be able to do is just slowly strangle the United States.
This is just one clip from our longer podcast. Do you like this kind of discussion? Then click below and watch it and download it all at ChinaUncensored.tv. When you subscribe to our website, you'll also be part of my exclusive China Uncensored 50 Cent Army, and we can stand up to the CCP together. Link is below.